All right, guys. Hope everybody's doing well. We obviously starting spring practice on Monday next week, so we're excited about that. And we've been at it hard and heavy, I think, the last couple of months. Coach Nico and his staff have done a really good job, obviously, in the winter program, developing guys in the weight room and on the field. And first winter we've had our brand new facility, which has been unbelievable to have that this winter because it's been a cold winter. And so we haven't missed a beat when it comes to training. Today we just went over all the guys individually today, all the things that they've been able to accomplish this winter with weight gains, strength gains, as well as speed. It's always an exciting time to see the guys continue to develop. Now the next part of developing will be the football aspect, and that'll start next week on Monday, where we'll get 3 practices in before spring break, have a little break there, and then come back and really get after it for about a month. So, a lot of things that we're looking forward to this spring, a lot of things we want to try to get out of it. Obviously, a new defensive coordinator and Coach Woody, so a new scheme with that. So trying to install that, we'll take that slow, making sure the guys get a great foundation with that. And then also for us, trying to find out what's the best positions for some of these guys to play within the scheme. And, trying to find some pass rusher guys can get after the quarterback. Certainly will be a change, from the last 2 years, trying to get after the quarterback. And then in the back end, we've got a lot of new guys in the back end. And so to be able to see where they play the best. And so I'm excited about that. And obviously offensively, continue to develop. I thought we had a really good year last year offensively, one of the top in the country offensively. And now we've got some new pieces to that. I'm excited about what those guys will be able to do as well. It's been fun to see so far. And, that's some of the things we'll be able to do in the spring is evaluating that offensively as well. Who's our playmakers, who's the guys that can do things running back-wise and receiver-wise.
I know the original thought on doing a week before spring break and then having a week off and then coming back so you could kind of get a feel for things. And how much more important is it this year with so much new on both sides of the ball that you get 3 days of tape and then a week to go? I mean, I assume you're not going to like Panama City Beach or anything for spring break, but you get a week to kind of break down the tape and see what you got.
I think it's obviously football's changed a lot over the last 2-3 years. So, we've obviously been evaluating our guys these first 2 months and seeing movement skills and seeing what they can do. Guys, the quarterbacks and receivers have been throwing this winter, so you're able to, get a little glimpse of some things that they're doing. But once you start actual football, we're putting a helmet on. We're actually doing some football stuff. We got to evaluate every day. We got to, really go through it, grade it, figure out what they can do, can't do. The first 2 days will be just helmets. So really, you don't have any shoulder pads. I'm not a huge fan of those days. But Friday will be a good day for us when we put some shoulder pads on. But you go back and we're going to watch those 3 practices, evaluate that, see if we need to change, move some guys around when they come back from spring break. Because when we come back from spring break, we'll have a couple of days where we're just running them and getting them back, knocking the spring break out of them before we actually start practicing. So, we try to spread it out. You get your 3 days, and then, that last month when you get back. It's just all about evaluation and continuing to develop.
How does the co-offensive coordinator situation work? A lot of places do this, but are they constantly in your head before you call? It doesn't seem like there's a first and second down coordinator and a third down coordinator because you may run on third down, you may pass on first down. So I'm just trying to.
I've often thought that was pretty funny if you had a run game, pass game. Hey, we're going to pass it. Give me a play, pass game coordinator.
Right.
We're going to run it. Hey, give me the.
Well, when they describe it on TV like that, that's what it sounds pretty cut and dried, but it's got to be crazy.
I think it's more so like Coach Carwell and Coach Thomas have been with me for a long time, but for them, they're the leaders of the offense, and so much of that is every day in the offseason. So what we've been doing now, we've had some unit meetings where they run the meeting. They're setting the tone for what the offense wants to be this year, and expectations, and in a lot of different aspects, and how we do things. How we take the field, how we come off the field, and then how we do all our things offensively. So they're the leaders of that, and so. Those guys do a great job of working hand in hand, coming up with that plan, and then presenting that plan to the offensive players, unit meetings, and that transfers to position meetings. Also, when we're, looking at our installation for the spring, You know, they got a huge input. Like, what do we need to put in the run game or in the passing game? You know, so it's just really it's the leadership aspect of that. Those guys have earned that right to be the coordinators of the offense, and they do a great job of bringing everybody together. So really what that entails is not necessarily just, you know, run game, pass game, or that. It's really just leaders of the offense. They're setting the tone that's going to filter down through the players, and there's a standard of play that we have offensively, and they're setting that expectations with their guys.
You had some coaches shuffling around on the defensive side of the ball. What kind of went into that decision, and also specifically with David Rowe about him kind of switching to safeties after being hired to coach corners?
Well, you know, we hired Rowe, then we made a deep coordinator change there, and so, you know, really getting with Coach Woody. You know, the thing about it is we want to put our coaches and our players in the best places that we can be the best, whatever that is. You know, Coach Rowe can handle the whole secondary. So, you know, we hired him as the coach in the corners. You know, now let's say we felt like it was going to be best to move him to the safeties, but he's still, you know, obviously overseeing a lot of things in the secondary. There's a lot of eyes on those positions defensively, which I really like. You know, it's like, you know, if you got one coach that coaches four guys, how can you really see this corner and that corner on the field at the same time during practice and give them feedback? No. So what we're now, you know, you got two or three different coaches back there that have eyes on guys where we can give feedback immediately right after the rep. Hey, you guys came back, you know, or they come off the sideline, and you get to tell them right now what you saw and what you need to get better at. It's like that at every position on the defense. You know, Coach Woody has a good opportunity now within defensive staff meetings to tell them and set a tone of what he's looking for and what he wants from each position and how they do their meetings. I mean, how they set up their meetings. Man, he's very detail-oriented in how he sets this defense up. And we're just trying to put the best coaches in those best spots to enhance our defense. And then how they teach our players. There's so many little details that go into it defensively in this defense and how we fit the defense and, you know, where your alignment's supposed to be and where you're going to force the ball carrier and where the guys need to be there to make plays. So there's a lot of things that go into it. You know, it's been awesome to have Coach Woody here. Obviously, worked with him for many years at App State, and to get him back here, it's fun to see, man. It's fun. It's going. You know, I'm excited about getting out there practicing and going against him. It's going to be slow putting the defense in. He just got here, you know, really really vanilla. And then as we go throughout spring, expand on that and start adding a lot more wrinkles to it. The thing I like about this defense is there's a lot of different things we can do, a lot of different wrinkles. We want to get after the quarterback. We want to cause havoc to the offense, and there's a lot of different ways we can do that. So yeah, it's going to be fun to see and excited about it. But they're working well together defensively. Their staff, everybody's got their roles within the defensive staff, and it's been very encouraging.
Scott, what is the key in your mind? You have an offensive mind, obviously, an offensive background, to onboarding at least two new quarterbacks, and how is that competition, in your mind, going to unfold?
Yeah, you know, again, we talked about this earlier, but college football is so unique in the last couple of years now. Everybody's got brand new teams when you hit January, and particularly now where, you know, we had the one portal, so you're getting all your guys in here in January. So now, you know, we had 22 transfers and 14 new high school guys that showed up in January, so 36 brand new players throughout the team. And how quickly can you get them on board? And, you know, it starts with just teaching them the basic stuff that we have in our offense, terminology. Like a guy like J.C. French, I mean, he's thrown vertical routes. He's thrown, you know, a smash concept. He's done a lot of our concepts, but how do we teach it? How do we call it? What are we looking for? All those things. And that's, you know, Coach Thomas has worked with the quarterbacks now since they've been here and installing all that, trying to get them caught up as quickly as possible because, you know, we know they're going to come out. They're going to make some mistakes. We've got to get that corrected for the next practice and those, you know, so forth. But I think we have high expectations for all our guys, you know, but you know, Liam and JC come in. They've both played a lot. They got a lot of experience, which is good. They'll take that experience and take it with them here. You know, Samaj, I think, you know, having played in the bowl game, it gave him a lot of confidence. He's had a great offseason as well. Brooks is a true freshman coming in here, just learning, you know, so we're going to throw it all at him and really just kind of see what sticks, but be efficient in what we're doing. So far, they've done a great job of learning it. They're smart guys. You know, we haven't played anything with the football yet, so it's hard to know because so much of quarterback play is decision making. They all got the talent, but how quickly can you decide what you need to do, and then how can you get it done? Making the throw, making the right read, and or running the ball.
Is your idea, just to follow up on that, to keep the system mostly the same and have them fit into it, their skill set, or will you try to, I think you've done this in the past, kind of adapt your system to what they do?
Yeah, I think certainly we have a system. I thought, again, last year I thought our offense was really good, but what these guys do probably going to be a little bit different than what Sorsby did that well. So we're going to find out what these guys can do well. Let's do that. I mean, I certainly want to be, hey, this is what we do. You guys got to learn how to do this. No, I mean, to me, we're going to inside run, outside zone. We're going to run those plays, our play action. But what is their great skill set, and let's do that. And so I think that remains to be seen. We'll see what they can do, can't do, figure it out. I'm sure we're going to tweak some things, obviously, on offense. But I liked how efficient we were last year. We took care of the football. We were efficient in a lot of aspects of football games offensively. But, again, we got brand new receivers, a ton of them out there that are brand new running backs. We got Zion back, but everybody else is new. I mean, so – and it's at every position, so we got a lot of different skill sets, man. We got some talent. Excited about working with these guys. Let's see what they can do and try to put them in the best position.
New defense, will be a 3-4. Do you see, like, any guys that you might see standing up and then some guys maybe handing the dirt, vice versa in the secondary as far as, guys maybe that line up at safety, then they could see them in a slot? Like, do you see, like, kind of that versatility? I know without pass it's hard to kind of pinpoint that, but do you kind of have some people circled, like maybe they can do multiple things?
Yeah, I think we got several guys that can do multiple things, and I think that's what the spring is going to be about. It's hard to sit here and say, hey, this guy's going to play this position. We can't say that, I think these guys got a lot of great skill sets, and try to figure out, and a lot of it's going to be, hey, on 1st and 10, who's our best 11 out there? On 3rd and 8, who's our best 11? So that may be different. That may be 5 different guys. Like, we don't know yet. So, to me, we have a lot of guys to work with. You guys are going to talk to Zach here in a little bit, but I thought we brought some really good guys in to help the defensive side of the ball, particularly in the secondary, with a lot of different skill sets. MJ Cannon's a guy that's kind of stood out to me. I think he's a guy who can play 4 positions. I mean, he could play corner. He could play our what we're calling our cat position, which is the sound linebacker position, and both safeties. Like, he's 210 pounds at 6'3", can run. So I think he's a great deal of versatility. There's several guys like that I think within the secondary could play safety, could play corner, could play the boundary safety. So Mook Sims, a guy. Hey, we're going to look at him off the edge. Coming off the edge, he's got great size. I think he's pushing 6'3", 238 right now. So here's a guy that can come off the edge, try to get put some pressure on the quarterback. Miles is another guy that we're going to try to look on the edge there. I think Parker's a guy who's it's time to be a dude now. As an edge defensive end type, he's around 278 now, and strong, good point of attack on the edge. Cam Rutherford's a guy who I think, man, he hasn't played much for us in 2 years he's been here, but he could be a huge factor in our D-line. I think we got some good guys, man. I'm excited about seeing what they're saying in this new scheme.
You had 2 guys go through on-field workouts at the Combine, 4 guys there total. What was it like to see those 2 guys showcase their skills, especially Jeff running that 4.31?
You know what? Those 2 guys that participated, I'm not surprised at all. Like, we knew. I think we even mentioned this probably to you guys a few times with Caldwell. I mean, we knew his numbers last year would have been one of the top at the Combines. I mean, he came out cold one day and brought 11.2 last year. He ran his 10-yard start in the 40 last winter was as fast as anybody in the Combine. Like, so we knew he was going to do that. I don't think anybody else really knew, but I thought in Gold 8, we all kind of knew that as well. I mean, both of those guys, are freak athletes. They have great size. They have ability to run and jump, and it wasn't surprising. It's awesome to see. We love it. Because sometimes you go in a setting like that, that's some nerve, whatever may kick, So, but those guys, man, it's so awesome to see. And we got our pro day coming up here very soon, and I think some of these other guys will work out and they'll do some really good things. Joe's going to test well also. I mean, they'll be able to showcase what they can do in our facility whenever we have our pro day. So I think all those guys, they're great people, number one, which is what you want. They're coachable. At the next level, they'll get the most out of these guys. Man, I still think, like, you mentioned Golda and Caldwell, their best football is ahead of them. Like, I wish we had Caldwell. It'd be awesome to have another year in college so he can continue to develop and translate his testing to the football field. But I think certainly his best ball is ahead of him, and Golda continues to get better each and every year. And man, he's going to be somebody's going to get a great player in him. So I'm excited for those guys, and hopefully we'll have many of our guys named called whenever the draft happens. It's going to be awesome.
Final two, Chad and Scott.
Do you ever sit at home and draw up plays for your defensive tackle on the goal line?
I mean, sometimes I think about it late in the bed. Hey, who's some good athletes with some size? Let's put them in the backfield and make some plays happen. So. But I think that's always the case. I think you're always trying to find some way, short yards, goal line. What kind of package can we put in there to get in the end zone? So, yeah.
Not many teams have a guy that's 340 pounds that played
running back. I know. He yesterday or whatever day it was this week, we ran starts, 10 and 20-yard starts, and he had a really good time, and I said, how much you weigh? He's like, 339. I was like, dang. I said, because he was rolling. So, yeah, he's got, you could tell at some point, he got some twitch in there now. And really excited about him, as a D lineman. You got somebody with that kind of size, and he'll continue to work on his weight. Because I think if we do get him down a little bit, 330, 325, he's going to be that much quicker. But he can move, for a guy that size. So you certainly could see that he had some ability to play running back. Just got a little bit too big for it.
All right, you had some guys on the freak list last year. You maybe mentioned one right there. Who are this year's freaks? And can I sneak another one in? How important is it to see these young men wearing socks now up to their of all the NCAA legislation, that seemed a bit silly, so you don't have to comment.
Well, I think, we will certainly have some guys that could be candidates for free. To me, just MJ Cannon just kind of stands out to me, who's a guy who's probably 6'3", 6'3 and a half, 210, can run, jump. He played corner, he played safety, he played Sam. He brought him off. He did everything for BG, and I think he could do that for us as well. Great person, good personality, plays with poise, savvy, and has that size and speed. He could be one of those guys for sure. And then we got some other guys too. We went over all those guys today, and I'm like, man, that's some great numbers and some guys that can really do some good things this year. As far as that goes, as far as the uniform stuff, man, we've been dealing with that rule for years. For a long time. And you go play some teams, and some referees will allow the guys to have their shorts, like short Daisy Duke type shorts, like short shorts. I saw a kicker last year, literally, it was almost Speedo, out there trying to kick. So, they're just trying to make it more uniform. It's so hard for these referees to try to enforce that rule and not play guys. So, to cover up the skin. So, what will happen, I think, there'll be a lot of tights. The guys are going to wear tights, probably still wear some short socks, but the tights will cover up the skin. I think, if this passes, that'll probably be what
NFL fines these guys. They're getting paid, so why not fines?
Yeah, that's certainly a good idea there, Scott. Start fining them.
Cool, thanks.
What was the sprint like in this portal window? They keep changing it, adjusting it, moving dates. Was it different? Do you just learn how to adjust now?
Yeah, it's been different pretty much every year and every cycle to this point. This was extremely unique in its own right because, it opened on the 2nd as we were playing a bowl game. The 3rd was the first time we had anyone on campus, and in about whatever it was, 9 to 10 days or so, we had 22 kids signed. So it was definitely a rush. A lot of quick decisions had to be made, obviously, in a short amount of time, but we're fortunate here at Cincinnati with an incredible operational alignment, how I would refer to it, from the president of the university down. We have to get involved with admissions, academics, our legal team with Lori Ross. Like it's a full deal to get even one player in, never mind 22 in a 10-day span. So it's a real testament to the way it's been set up from John Cunningham.
I asked Coach this, but give me the Zach Grant pre-Bruce Feldman freak list of this year.
That's a good question. We actually just went over a lot of these testing numbers earlier this morning with the strength staff. I mean, Jeff Caldwell is the most athletic receiver in the history of football based on the combine, so I don't know if we'll quite get that. But, I'll say this about the whole group. It's incredibly deep and talented. Like, I don't know if, like, last year we had a couple guys stand out from the rest as outliers. The middle 75th percentile has been raised significantly, and rather than point anyone out, I think it's just an incredibly competitive spring with a lot of really good big athletes, but several are in contention for that.
Is there conversation to never have a bowl game on the opening day of the portal anymore? Because it seems like that probably put you guys at a pretty big disadvantage.
Well, no conversations I've been a part of. Obviously, you're going to select the best bowl game that we're selected for and go to it. So, however people decide that, I'm not a part of it. But we made it work this year, and all in all, very pleased with everyone we brought in. So,
Zach, what are the priorities in terms of what you're looking for? Obviously, you're looking for talent, skills, the measurables. But what about intangibles in your process in bringing kids here?
Yeah, of course. We have 4 main criteria at all positions: length, growth potential, explosiveness, and the 4th one's football character. And that's a really big thing for the program and, obviously for Coach Satterfield. Like, we're going to screen every player before it gets to his plate and his list of guys he's watching. But when it gets there, football character gets really important, and he wants to see people play through the echo of the whistle. And when I say football character, I mean between the white lines, how hard are you playing consistently? How much do you love football? Can we see that on tape? Do you exude it based on the way you play? And the guys that do love football, they typically, rise above the rest. It's a long off season. Like, we're around our players every single day, and there's 8 months where they're not playing and everything's getting critiqued. So if you just like it, you'll get exposed pretty quickly. So, loving the game of football and therefore striving to become the best version of yourself is a critical factor for us.
And if I could follow up, you mentioned being on alignment with the athletic department, obviously the administration. The situation with Brendan Sorsby, how important was it that everybody was in alignment in moving forward and addressing that situation and how you see it?
Yeah, I respect the question. It's a nuanced situation, but I'll just refer to John Cunningham and the university statement for anything regarding that.
Right. With the portal is a moving target, of course, and you guys got 3 big commitments on the line. How much easier did it allow you to attack the portal to get the spots that might have been lacking at?
Yeah, you're talking about the line of scrimmage on defense?
Yeah, offense.
The returners.
Yeah, returners.
Yeah. And honestly, in this day and age, if there's ever a position that you don't have to worry about in the portal, and we felt comfortable coming out of like early December with the retention at offensive line and tight end as well, but it made it a heck of a lot easier. I mean, the bigger you are and the better you are in football, the harder it is to get you in the portal. So you're in a scarce market to go get O-linemen. And we were very fortunate to have, Taryn and Joe and Evan come back. And, we think they're going to be the heartbeat of the team, as well as other guys that are going to step up at the O-line. If we had nobody else, we would have gone and got someone in the portal. But we feel really good about the guys coming back and their ability to step up.
You obviously have a lot of connections at Notre Dame. Jabron has connections here. What did you see on film from him? Because, 2023, I think he had more third down snaps than Audric Estime, and then hurt, buried behind 2, NFL quality running backs. So what did you see on film?
Yeah, the first thing I saw was, as a young player in a really good program, he was getting snaps in critical moments, like against Ohio State in their game in 23. Just following both of those programs, having been there, I remember seeing that and knowing he was a Cincinnati kid. And his career obviously got a little bit derailed from injury. But then once we talked to him, the type of person he was, it kind of stood out. And guys' trajectories are different, right? Like, there's less exposure to tape we're able to watch with him, but the tape was really good. And then guys we talked to in the program at Notre Dame, it was like one of those deals where the coaches wanted to play him because he did everything right. Pass pro, catching the football, hitting the right lane, good vision, all that. So everything that you may not see on tape too from a character standpoint was an A+. So all that kind of makes the decision easy. And then it's icing on the cake in terms of him being from Cincinnati. And that makes it, a little easier to get him. And so, yeah, he exactly what we hoped he would be so far in winter conditioning. He has been.
And then J.C. French, new quarterback. What did you see on film that said, hey, we need to target this guy. This is who we need to build our offense around?
Yeah, we watch as many quarterbacks as we possibly can throughout the whole season. And, J.C. was a guy that we had kind of kept tabs on. I got connections to the Georgia Southern program. I've watched a ton of their games. And for one, the arm talent stood out. Felt like he could make every throw on the field. I think he's a plus athlete. And then, his quick decision-making, I felt like, especially in their big games, like when he's playing App State or Georgia State, their rivalry games, he stood out. And then once he got in the portal, I was able to talk to Clay Helton and Ryan Applin and Brian Ellis about, what he was around the program and his learning aptitude and how they thought he might fit in our scheme, and everything kind of checked out. And we had to do that in like a very quick time process there in early January, but obviously it helped in that case to have those connections.
Zion got some late run in the season. Tell me about these new running backs that are going to be pushing him.
Yeah, we've been incredibly impressed with Zion. I think he's taken the next step so far in winter, and he's had one of the best winters of anyone on the team. Zylan Perry will obviously, push him. He's a big back that can really run. In 23, he was an All-American kick returner. Coach Pascal was there as a special teams coordinator with him. Obviously, we talked about Jabron Payne. He brings a full skill set to the running back position. Ability to run hard inside the tackles. He's got good size as well, but also really good vision and lateral ability. And then Cole Tabbs, a kid that, coming from Stanford, played as a young player, as a redshirt freshman. I remember watching him early in the season, expecting him to probably play and get more production than he did. I think he'll play behind a better O-line here. But he was a sub-1100 meter guy in high school. He was high school teammates with Isaiah Johnson, a wide out for us. So, that helped in getting him. And I think Cole has risen, the performance in the offseason of Isaiah as well. So we have a really good running back room of those four core guys, and I think they complement each other well. Last year, we had really one running back that was over 200 pounds to bring the physical aspect to the game, and all three of those guys we signed were all over 200 pounds, and they ran over 21 miles an hour so far in winter conditioning.
How different is the quarterback position in the portal? And does it feel like if you don't get something done, in the first 3-4 days, that like you're swimming upstream?
Yeah, it's a unique deal with the quarterback position, just in terms of you're kind of playing musical chairs a little bit. And on the one hand, there's a sense of not getting left out in that game of musical chairs, and the other is, do you want to risk it and maybe a guy falls to you? What it would be nice to say we could learn from this to next year and how we did it, but the problem is it's going to change again next year, and we'll just have to adjust on the fly there. But I thought Coach Thomas did an incredible job of, in a really short amount of time, assessing the board, having plan A, plan B, and kind of, executing the plan that we had. And we got a really good player that, since he's been in the program, has only, impressed us even more, with his mental aptitude.
Gibson and Fenner stand out as new receivers and all that. The one I'm intrigued by is the Colorado School of Mines guy. Is it Flynn Shealy?
Yes, yeah,
okay.
Flynn, yeah.
Is he just, it sounds like a heck of a story if he can play at all.
Yeah, I mean, we believe he can play for sure. Currently, so he's coming off an ACL injury. He was, it was 2 years in a row there at Colorado School of Mines, was producing big time, and this past season he tore his ACL. As you guys know, we're not afraid to go into the lower levels. I think we signed 22 portal guys, and 19 of them were Group of 5, FCS, or D2. For us, it's the traits of his athleticism and the critical factors that we look for. Of course, we're going to have him outperform competition by another degree if it's in Division II, but we're really excited about him, and you get around him too, and he's a great human being, extremely intellectual, knows what he's talking about. He's attacked his rehab like, we have the best trainer in the country, I think, in Aaron Himmler. Flynn's one of the guys that would just research it all and try to do it himself if he could, you know what I mean? But he brings a big play aspect on the outside. We saw his speed stand out, especially for a longer player, to attack the deep parts of the field.
JC, just how has this process been onboarding at UC, getting used to everything, and how much have you enjoyed that new shiny practice facility to work in this winter?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. I got here, everybody is super, welcoming with open arms. So thankful for all the coaches. We've really spent a lot of time in the playbook and getting that down, so feel very confident in that realm. But yeah, the guys have been awesome. It's been a really easy transition, and especially with that, new indoor, super nice. You got everything you need. You don't got to go home for nothing. So it's been really awesome so far.
Jabron, last time I talked to you, you were at LaSalle a few pounds ago. The guns look bigger and everything. So tell me what's it like to be back in town and playing for the Bearcats and everything you've been through. Are you excited to have another season?
Yeah, it's great to be back. Being from here, it's nothing short of a blessing to be able to come home, put on for your city. I have the utmost confidence in Coach Nico, our strength training staff, and everything like that. I came in, I was kind of heavy, and they got me back right. So, yeah, I'm very grateful for that.
What's heavy for you?
I don't even want to tell you. I was I was like 216. So now I'm down to like 209. Body fat's down and everything. So, yeah, I'm good.
Jabron, when you get in the portal and Cincinnati reaches out to you, was that kind of a thing where you just didn't really think about it? Like one of your goals was to get home, or did it actually fit really well?
It was a combination of both. I think it was a really good fit, as well as me just wanting, to come home. I graduated from the University of Notre Dame, so just to, get a new scene, new area, even though I'm from here, I thought it would have been good and best for my future.
You have 2 years left, right?
Correct.
Gotcha.
JC, is this a chance to prove a lot of people wrong? I mean, you were highly successful where you're at. You probably heard all along, maybe you're not tall enough, maybe you can't do this enough. Now you're in the Big 12. There's been plenty of guys your size that have had success. Is this your opportunity?
I don't think it's more proving myself right. I mean, I've had belief in myself my whole career, where when I started at Memphis and then transferred to Georgia Southern. So I think it's really just proving myself right, knowing what I'm able to do and, show it off at the Big 12 level. I'm super excited for the opportunity. I can't wait to take advantage of it.
Question for both of you. When you were in the portal and you see, 3 prominent Big 12 linemen saying they're going to stay at UC, did that help you guys' decision?
Absolutely, 100%. They were huge in my recruitment. I mean, they reached out to me while I was on my visit and before my visit, so that was, a big thing for me, and obviously the coaches showing a ton of love. I got a lot of respect for all of them. The way that they did it, the way that they handled their business, and all the truths that they told me, and I was super thankful for the whole process.
Definitely. Just following up with that, just seeing them on my visit, having those conversations with them, them just giving me that, I guess, confirmation in the sense that, this is home, this is the place where I need to be because we can accomplish something big as a team as well as an individual, so yeah.
Jabron, did you ever look at what Corey Kiner did here, stayed home, and, are you looking forward to maybe, I don't know if you have the same success or not, but just the fact that you're home scoring touchdowns at Nippert and Cincinnati?
Yeah, I still talk to Corey. He's actually here right now. He was big in this process as well. You know, just calling me and texting me, you know, just telling me about the staff and, you know, about the facilities and everything like that. And, you know, just, you know, like I said, like the 3 linemen did, just telling me that this is the place to be and this is home. And I can do what I need to do here.
How much, JC, did you look at the production from the offense last year? Yards per play and a lot of, you know, areas where they were, you know, one of the better offenses in the country. And did that make it, you know, even more attractive in terms of a destination?
Yeah, absolutely. I did my research, obviously, before I got here. I wanted to make sure it was the right fit for me. I believe they're top 10 in explosive plays from last year. So, you know, that's a huge driving factor of wanting to join a program because, you know, I believe in what they do offensively, and I feel like we have the weapons to do that, whether it's a run and pass game with Jabron and all the other guys. So, yeah, it was very intriguing in the portal to see how explosive this offense can be, so I can be a part of it.
Jabron, along those same lines, I'm sure you did your research and coming back home. What about this offense kind of fits your style of running?
Just being able to pass the ball as well as running the ball because, you know, that's very complementary and work well off each other. And we can't run the ball if we can't pass it. And, you know, I was intrigued by that. And like JC said, top 10 and, you know, almost every category in, you know, FBS football. And so that was very intriguing. And, you know, that didn't ultimately make my decision, but it was a big reason why I did.
And JC, if I could go back to you, what about your game do you feel fits the style from what you've seen on tape of Scott Satterfield's offense?
I think the biggest thing is the RPO play action game. We do a ton of that. That's what I feel comfortable with. I feel like my biggest plays from last year were in that realm, just, you know, getting the ball quick to the receivers, letting them make plays, and trusting my playmakers that they're going to make the play in the right situation.
Not to put you on the spot, JC, but you added a lot of wide receivers after you committed. Some guys with some really great tools and some really good production. Which one of those guys are you kind of maybe most excited, looking forward to, or who should the fans be most excited about watching?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all working really hard right now. I'm super excited for all of them. We got some key returners from last year that I'm excited about, and also some new guys. But yeah, they're working all really hard right now. I'm excited for them to have a big season.
MJ, a lot of talk about your versatility and all the different roles. What is it about this defense that you think fits you as you've gotten to know Coach Woody and all the options you might have?
I mean, you know, Coach Woody, he's a smart guy. He's been around the game a long time, so, you know, he knows what he's talking about. He's got a lot of stuff planned for us, and I know he's got a lot of packages, a lot of ways that he's going to put the players on the defense in a position to make plays and get turnovers, because that's a big thing we need to do this year to help our offense.
You played here last year for Bowling Green. I think I've heard you say how loud it was and all that. Can you just describe in general, the MAC puts so many good players out, and just the chip on the shoulder that MAC guys have, and the desire to get to this level, the Big 12, when there's a lot of players that folks are missing on.
I feel like, you know, I've just always had a chip on my shoulder, you know, growing up playing. I feel like as a competitor, that's how you got to play. You always got to have a chip on your shoulder. You always got to have an edge to you. So I feel like no matter where you come from, if you're a competitor, you're going to have that chip on your shoulder to go out there and make plays for you and your teammates.
Kenny, what would you say your best trait is as a corner? Are you more inside, outside? How do you kind of really produce on the field?
Yeah, I play on the outside. Last year was my first year playing a little bit of slot corner, but, you know, I'm a true outside corner, I would say. You know, I'm one of my best traits is I'm a competitor, just ultimate competitor. You know, I'm just gonna keep going until it's over. You know, it's not over until it's over, and I really believe things like that.
Is there a corner in the NFL you model your game after, like to watch film of, look up to?
I'll for sure say, like, the corner I've been watching the longest will either be Denzel Ward or Patrick Peterson. You know, Pat Pete, he Arizona corner legend. You know, I'm from Arizona, so it was just easy for me to watch Pat Pete.
Kenny, this team had, I think, just 2 interceptions last year. Do you think maybe by the first game you can remedy that and tie that mark?
I mean, that's always the goal. We trying to create turnovers no matter what. It just as a whole defense, it starts from the front and it works back through everyone, all three levels. So, that's definitely the goal, just to get as much turnovers as we can this year.
Kenny and MJ, who were the people, you both being in the transfer portal, who were the people that kind of took you under their wing and just kind of showed you UC in the campus that kind of made you feel like, UC was home for you guys?
Yeah, I'll start. I'll really just say I would start with Coach Rowe and then Coach Nico. Because, when I came, they were gone on their break because they played a late bowl game. So when I came on my visit, there wasn't a lot of players, there wasn't a lot of people around. But, I really believed in what Coach Nico was preaching to me, And so far, he's been showing it to be true. So it's mostly just all the coaches and Coach Nico. And then when the guys came back, it didn't skip a beat with all the players. They welcomed us with open arms. They showed us the way, and they just showed us the 40-team mentality.
Yeah. I would say it was pretty much the same for me. When I came in on my visit, a lot of the guys were on break, and I got to have a long talk with Nico, and he showed me the culture, he showed me how they work, and it was just something that I couldn't wait to see and couldn't wait to be a part of. And when all the guys came back, they just welcomed me with open arms. Like, what I'm saying, I'm part of the brotherhood now, so they treated me like one of their own from the start.
MJ, you have a unique situation. You played against the Bearcats at Nipper Stadium. When you walking off that field, did you think next year I could be here?
Walking off that field, I never would have imagined that I'd be in this position next year. It's just it's a blessing to be here. It's all part of God's plan, and I'm blessed to be here.
Kenny, where are you from in Arizona, and was that part of the appeal to come here? I think they go to Tucson this year, right?
Yeah, I'm from Buckeye, so I'm from the Valley. That's the west part of the Valley. But we is going to play in Tucson, so I should have a good amount of people at that game supporting me for sure.
Kenny, being from Arizona, it's been the weather here is a little different. How have you acclimated yourself with some day early in the morning it might be snow on the ground and then it's 50 degrees a little bit later in the afternoon? I
mean, that's something I'm not really used to. Arizona is just hot year round. We get sunny days in the winter too. So they've been taking care of me. They gave me a good Nike coat, keep me warm. I just peel them off if it get a little too hot.
MJ, any of the both of you, any of the receivers that we need to be aware of that some of these guys fans haven't seen yet? There's some new guys, so who should they look out to? Who's giving you fits, or is anyone giving you fits?
All of them. All of them work extremely hard, like extremely hard. Like they part of the standard. So everyone out there I know is going to be able to make a play, no matter if they in the slot or outside. We got a lot of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I would say the same. It's work all around. You're not going to get an easy day with anybody. It's going to be real work every single day, and that's part of the reason we chose to come here, a bigger conference than we both were before. Just for the everyday work, not just for Saturdays, just getting us better on a daily basis.
Do you have a favorite position? And they've talked about Sam, both safeties, outside corner.
My favorite position, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say safety. It's what I played in high school. But, whatever Coach Woody needs me to do for the defense, to help our defense, help our team, I'm going to do it because I'm for the team guy.
They have an ROTC cannon here. I see a photo opportunity somewhere.
Yeah. I heard it during the game, too, last year when I was here. So
more than you'd like to, I think.
Yeah. At that point in time, way more.